If you could describe Billy Joe Saunders in one quick sentence, how would you do so?
A sexy motherfucker.
I'm gonna make sure he go right out the ring, and I might get on the top of the bucket or the rope and come down with a flying elbow kick. Who knows? Who knows?
Hope you get hit by a bus today, you fucking wanker.
Who the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, great shot! Left hand, right hand from Maxwell. Well, where did that come from? I can hardly believe what I've seen. An astonishing turnaround. He gets to his feet, and he stopped it! He stopped it!
And the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
Favor of Tyson Fury. And judge of ringside, Phil Edwards scores about 113 to 113. Even a draw. The decision is a split decision draw.
Ooh, how convenient.
They can say anything the fuck they want, and I don't care.
I'm the Ken man. I'm more Mexican and the rule is he's a coward. He's all gut and no heart. Pussy.
Daniel Dibor, I am going to knock you out.
Is you ain't ready for me, and you never have been, you never will be. All your knockout power and 10 men in that ring on the night can't beat Tyson Fury. I'm going to make you fuck yourself.
Oh, go on, man.
Hello, MCR family. Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, radio, etc. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, on all social media platforms. My internet is having a lot of issues today, so we're going to try to do this show. We're going to try to give you guys the content that you guys want and desperately are craving for. I know that. My camera's been a little bit on the fritz, so it's going to be in and out probably today. But without further ado, because we have a lot to get to. We're previewing all the fights coming up this weekend, a lot of boxing news and topics to get to as well. So without further ado, let me get to my co-host, Gary in Dallas. Gary, what's up, man? How you doing on this fantastic hump day?
Whoa, I get to go first. I never get to go first. This is a rarity.
Well, that's mainly because
you're in the middle. I don't like.
Oh, is that why I never? Okay, all right.
It's mainly because I forgot to get water and you talk the most. So I'm probably going to have enough time to get water and come back to the studio by the time you and Rob are done introducing yourselves. So I'll be right back.
Cool. Then I get to do a sneaker review. I got the new snakeskin pennies, the Penny Hardaways. All right. Straight from Shoe Palace. Great deal on those. And these are fantastic. These are the retros from 97, but they released them in snakeskin. So leave your comments on that below. Let me know what you guys think of my new Penny Hardaways. And then we got Kell Brook this week. We got a good fight with Gary Russell Jr. and King Tug. This should be a good fight. And then David Allen fights on the undercard of Kell Brook, right, Rob? So a lot to get into this week. This is a good week of boxing, even though there's not like any. Well, I guess Russell versus King Tug. That's a big fight, you would say, right?
Yeah, is he not back? We don't know. He's just nothing right now. He's incognito because he's being stalked.
Dude, don't bring that up. Why are you bringing that up? Okay. Which, by the way, that should be a topic of the show at some point. Is how many Packhouse promoters obviously stalking me. Just saying.
Yes. Yeah. What are we gonna do? Brooke back. Yeah. Chocolate brownies, baby. We're back. What else we got? Fight of the weekend for me is Terry Harper and Eva Wallstrom. I think that's going to be a really good fight. Cool. But yeah, King Tug, obviously. Shout out to anyone that listened to the Cop and Pug show. King Tug, he's not your average Thai fighter.
He's not Thai.
Exactly. That was picked up by the usuals. Carpenter, he's not the average Thai fighter.
Oh, wait, he said that?
Yeah, he said it on there. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I thought same could be said of Manny Pacquiao, although that's a rough name around these parts. I won't.
He's stalking me.
But yeah, let's get into the show. There's obviously some news to talk about. Press conferences coming for big fights and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into it.
Hey, Rob, could you explain the chocolate brownie thing? Because people like me and Errol Spence, I don't like. Errol Spence.
What he calls his fists.
Chocolate brownies?
He was just going to feed him some chocolate brownies. Babe.
That's all there is to it?
Uh-huh.
Because me, Errol Spencer said I didn't get it, and I don't. Okay.
I'm surprised if Errol Spence understood a word Kell Brook was saying, to be honest.
That's true. I think Rob did have a good impersonation of Kell Brook right there, just saying. But let's get to the fights this weekend. And let's be honest, it's not the marquee fight, the marquee card of the weekend. It's not Kell Brook's card, just being honest. It is probably the Gary Russell Jr. fight against King Tug. I'm going to try to pronounce this name. Tugaskat Nayambar.
Very good.
From Mongolia. From Mongolia. Which is surprising because, not surprising. Remember I talked about this on maybe another time, another show, about how certain fighters, we all of a sudden get a huge uptick in views from certain countries. He's like that from Mongolia. Like, we get all of a sudden comments, we get views from Mongolia because of this guy. It's not a big country.
I'm Mongolian right now. I'm going to learn some. I'm sure it won't be offensive.
Plus, we have Guillermo Rigondeaux back into Liborio Solis. Really good little double header right there at the top. You have some undercard fights with obviously the other Gary Russells, Jamonte Clark, Jason Velez on this card against Jamie Abaloleda. I've never heard of that guy in my life, but Jason Velez I've heard of, so good to see him again. A lot to get to on this card, especially with the double header. Let's start at the top. Gary Russell Jr. back against King Tug, his mandatory, a guy that has been Oscar Escadon, rather impressive, and Claudio Moreno. And I'm of the mindset that Gary Russell should win this fight. He is technically better than King Tug. King Tug is also a guy who, while beating some notable top 15, top 20 competitors, is also probably jumping into, the Shark Tank with the biggest fucking shark in the division other than Josh Warrington after only 11 fights. I think that might be a little bit too much too soon, even for King Tug, the Olympic silver medalist. King Tug's boxing ability, to me, is top notch, but I also view Gary Russell as one of the best boxers in the division, if not the best pure boxer in the division, other than probably Shakur Stevenson. King Tug does present maybe some power to this fight in this matchup that might equal it out, but I'm going Gary Russell Jr. Via unanimous decision in a tight, fun fight. I see King Tug being tough, being a good competitor, but just being outboxed in large portions of this fight by Gary Russell Jr. Though we did see, obviously, with Gary Russell Jr. versus Joseph Diaz, if he does get pressured by a bigger guy that can apply power shots accurately, Gary Russell's defensive footwork does just sort of get slowed down. He becomes a little more static in his movement, and he can get hit. So curious to see how King Tug is able to cuff the ring and apply pressure in this fight. Guys, thoughts on this Showtime main event, Gary Russell Jr. versus King Tug? Gary, I assume you want to jump in first because I know you love the low weight classes.
Yeah, no, this is a really good fight, right? I think Gary Russell. No, Rob doesn't like it.
No, Rob eating popcorn just funny, man.
King Tug is top 5 to 10 in the weight class. Gary Russell is arguably the best guy in the weight class. I think Gary Russell, his skills are second to none. I think Gary Russell is so good. His career, he can do what he wants. He never says he's going to fight more than once a year. He's made that clear. I just don't know how you can stay sharp this way, right? Like, especially when your last fight is Kiko Martinez. So his last real fight, I get Kiko Martinez is a challenge, but not really.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's on challenge in 2019. 2015, 14, sure. But it's 2019, 20 now.
So his last fight was Jojo Diaz, a fight, and he beat a good fighter, but a fight he didn't look great in. So it's like, what do we have to judge him by recently? There's no, what I'm saying? There's no sample size to judge him off of. So I'm going to go with Russell because there's too much good stuff in the bank to pick against him. But King Tug is going to be a real talent. I agree with mostly what Matt said. Pretty much all of it. I think Russell wins out. I think this is tightly contested, but I think Russell's experience and skills will get him through it. But we don't know because we don't get to see Russell in the ring
as much as we were like. That's for damn sure. And King Tug, maybe it's a momentum shift. King Tug, a rising undefeated Olympian. Gary Russell, more of an older Olympian at this time, a true veteran of the game, 30-1. He's been well traveled. He was in the Olympics in 2012, right? He's the famed 2012 team. That's 8 years ago now. That's almost a decade ago now was that Olympic year of his. Maybe it is a momentum shift in the division, and that's an X factor we cannot quantify going into the fight, but just something to be aware of. Things switch. All of a sudden, a rising, undefeated, prospect becomes the guy in the division, a la what happened with Daniel Rahman against Akhmadiliev just, a week or two ago. So, Rob, thoughts on Gary Russell Jr. versus King Tug? Do you think there's a chance King Tug can pull the upset here and be a new face in the division?
Yes. For our Mongolian King Tug listeners out there, I'm going for the upset. I'm picking the upset. He's a little over 3-1. So
hold on. By the way, if Gary Russell Jr. loses this, it confirms that whenever me and Gary pick together and Rob picks the other side, me and Gary lose. Just want to point that out, that this is a curse, I think, of MCR that's happening, and I just want to be aware of it.
Some say curse, some say knowledge.
Gary Russell Jr. was on the 2008 Olympic team. That's how long it was.
Damn.
Yeah. 2012 was 28 was him. Well, Rashid Warren was on both teams. It was Warren, Wilder, and then 2012 was Spence and Jojo Diaz and those guys.
Okay. Thank you for the correction there, Gary.
Damn. But yeah, no, I think it'd be tough, but I think Tug can do it, providing he's on his like A game. Because I believe, was it not his last fight? It was the fight before. He wasn't so impressive. But I think on his day, I think he can give Gary Russell trouble. So Jojo kind of give him trouble, but just not enough. But I think King Tug is going to have enough power that Gary Russell will have to respect it. And yeah, it'd be interesting seeing what if King Tug can get him backing up and stop those flashy combinations and have him thinking about defense more than the combinations and everything like that. I know Russell is the favorite. He's like the 4-1 favorite. King Tug's a little over 3-1, but that's not ridiculous odds, I don't think, for this matchup. And like you say, the inactivity.
It's the same odds as Mayweather McGregor.
No, that was a little wider than this. This is like Akhmadiliev was he was a favorite, 300, and yeah, I don't know, but I just think that inactivity for Russell at some point is going to catch up with him, and why couldn't it be, a fairly hot prospect, youngster coming in and upsetting the apple cart? I'm gonna go with the upset.
Are you thinking, TKO, late TKO for King Tug, or decision where it's, tight, competitive, really good fight? King Tug narrows it though.
I thought at first this is going to be a decision, and if it was going to go to decision, I think Russell would probably take it. But I've started just this week sort of leaning towards Tug might get a stoppage. So yeah, I'm going to go Tug.
Gary Russell.
Right, wait, pause. I'm not going to go Tug. I'm going to go with Tug. Mid to late round stoppage.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you can do it.
I got it.
Before jumping in, I want to make a comparison here. I think stylistically, there's a similar comparison. Tevin Farmer and Gary Russell Jr., I think, have very similar styles in terms of like strategic aims, what they want to do. They like flashy, quick bursts of combinations, but it's all centered around really fast, athletic movement and defensive movement, especially. However, both guys do like to sit in the pocket and exchange. They can be suckered into a brawl more than other defensive fighters. Gary, would you agree with me on that? That Gary Russell Jr. can be sucked into a fight more so than other defensive boxers?
Absolutely. I think is his downfall, which I think
King Tug could absolutely get Gary Russell maybe, that 2 feet away from the ropes where Russell then feels pressured. And then guess what? Russell's going to sort of keep his stance and stay there and fire off combinations in the pocket. And maybe that's not to his advantage with King Tug. We don't know, because King Tug, I don't think has ever fought anyone as good as Gary Russell. So yet to be determined.
Like I don't know if Gary Russell Jr. I think his power is slept on and underrated because he is such a good mover and boxer. Like Gary Russell Jr.'s got really good snap on his punches. Like I compare him to like a prime Zab Judah without the laziness and mental lapses. Like Gary Russell Jr.'s skills and power from the southpaw stance, really good crack on his punches. Like I don't think that King Tug is just gonna like walk in on him like he could to Tevin Farmer. You know what I'm saying? Like if he does, he's gonna eat a lot of big heavy shots. Like I think, you know what I'm saying? Like Russell is willing to trade because he can hurt the guy, right? It's not like Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer can land all he wants. It's not gonna hurt anybody. Which I think is Gary Russell's downfall, right? Because if Gary Russell just stays on his bicycle, circles and moves, ain't nobody outboxing him. But he's willing to exchange.
Yes. No, I absolutely agree with you. In this division, you're right. If he gets on his bike, he is the best boxer in this division, not Shakur Stevenson, not Josh Warrington, not anyone else. It's him. But he does have enough pop to where he does want to stand on his punches more than the common defensive boxer. And he does want to go for finishes more in the later rounds, a la the Escadon fight, where he did go for the finish late. That might not be the right strategy here with King Tug. Yet to be determined. But let's move on for the sake of time. Guillermo Rigondeaux back against Liberio Solis. I really like this fight. I think Liberio Solis is one of those guys that's always been good. Not great, but he's always been very good. He only lost to Jamie McDonnell. I know he had some losses early in his career, but he lost Jamie McDonnell and Shinzuki Yamanaka. Those are really good people to lose to. And he's beaten everyone else. And Guillermo Rigondeaux had a really tough back-and-forth brawl with Julio Ceja in his last fight. I'm curious, do we see that same Rigondeaux in this fight where he does look older, his movement does look a little more static, his defensive sort of waist movement where he can just slip off a shot off the center line like that is gone. How does he adjust? Is he now in this brawling stage of his career? Sort of like Eslon de Laura to a degree. I'm curious, highly curious about what Rigondeaux we see in this fight, how he looks, how good he looks. Does he get suckered into a brawl again? Because Solis is a guy that can do that. And if it does, it's a great fight. But if Rigondeaux is back to his prime, air quotes, I know he's 39, 40 years old, but if he's back into any sort of prime form, he should be able to really slip off anything that Solis throws at him and counter him easily and probably get a mid to late round TKO. Rob, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Liberio Solis. Thoughts on Rigo's return since I think his Ceja fight, which was when? Summertime of last year? It was like 6 months ago, I want to say. It's not a huge layoff, but one that is a little possible.
This fight fell out, didn't it? It was going to happen before. I think Rigo can come away with this one. I think, like you see, almost like Lara, he's kind of sitting on shots a little bit more now, less of the, you get older, you're not quite got the wheels that you maybe used to have. The legs aren't quite what they were. So you sit on your shots, and we know Rigo can crack as well. It'd be interesting to see what going back down to 118. Down to 118. If that has an effect, but I do think Rigo's going to be a little bit too good for Solis on this one, and I think mid to late stoppage. I think.
Gary.
I keep going back and forth. I want to pick Rigo.
Rigo should be the safe bet. Let's be honest here. You should not be picking Solis. It's how good does Rigo look in this fight?
He was losing to Ceja in a fight that you thought got stopped too soon, right? When he bailed himself out with a big left hand. This is gonna be a war. Like, this is gonna be fought in a phone booth. So, like, why am I picking Rigo? Like, if that's look, his skills are good enough where maybe he can win that fight. But he's not definitely going to win a phone booth fight. That's the way I see it going down. I'll go with Rigo by split decision in a phone booth brawl. But, like, I'm only picking Rigo because he's light years better. I think he's going to fight entirely the wrong fight. And he could lose, and he could. Solis beat Kohei Kono. Like, he's a good fighter. He lost to McDonald, right? Twice? Or once?
No, he lost to him once, and there was no contest in the second fight. I forget for what reason.
He's been in, he's experienced, and I know Kono was old, I think he was all winning, but he might not have been that old. But this is a real challenge. Solis could win this fight.
He could, but I don't think he's.
No, because Rigo's so much better. But if Rigo doesn't use his skills and they trade, what good are his skills?
Who's better, Ceja or Solis? Or are they comparable?
They're probably comparable. They're probably comparable.
Okay.
Rigo, by the way, is a minus 800, and Solis is a plus 450.
See, if you want to place a smart bet, be prepared to lose. But the juice is worth the squeeze on picking Solis in this fight. I'm telling you, this is not.
Double I in the chat is saying Solis is 37 years old as well. I mean, it's not like he's facing a young bruiser like Ceja. Ceja's what, 32 years old, 33 years old. Ceja's still pretty young relative to the division, I should say. While Solis is 37, way past that sort of expiration date on the super bantamweight division. So is Rigo, but Rigo has the skills. I think Rigo's the safe bet, and I think he should win this one, like Rob, late TKO. I don't see Solis winning this one. It's how good does Rigo look? That's the question. It's not does he win. It's how good does Rigo look?
You want me to do something crazy here? I'll take Solis. Those odds, I kind of want to take Solis now because it's.
Dude, why don't you take the draw?
I'll take a draw.
25 to 1.
I'll take a draw because it's going to be that kind of fight. I don't think Rigo. Look, Rigo's one of my all-time favorite fighters. Him and Laura, but he's not the same. He's not the fighter he was in 2012. He's just not. So, if you think that guy's going to show up and he's going to move and he's going to make a miss and outbox him and outclass him like he did to Donaire, that guy ain't showing up. That guy's way past his prime.
Maybe. I'm not going to talk about anything else on this card. Like I said, we have the Gary Russell brothers on this, Jamonte Clark on this card as well, and Jason Velez. Guys, ready to move on? All right, let's get to the Kell Brook card. Kell Brook versus Mark DeLuca. Whoa. How many comeback fights is Kell Brook going to have before he's just back?
It depends on how long he has a layoff in between this one and the next one.
I'm just what are we thinking Kell Brook is for us in the boxing community industry in 2020? What is he where does he rank? Where does he what's his place in this sport now?
I think he's one loss away from retiring, and he's one win away from, I don't know. I'm sure Eddie somehow will magic up a world title shot at 154 somehow. I think that's his goal. He wants another title shot. He said, if I don't look anything less than great in this fight, I know that's it. He was asked about obviously the Khan fight, and he said, I don't even want to talk about it. He knows where I am, but I'm sick of he just doesn't want to have to walk the streets of the UK with a loss to me on his. That's why this fight isn't happening. But
which does make sense. I'll be honest, because Kell Brook walks around the streets of the UK with videos of him jerking off, rumors of his wife cheating on him with Anthony Joshua. Amir Khan walks around the streets of the UK with a lot of fucking shit.
Yeah, I lost to Brook. I mean, Sean Porter's doing it in America. He's doing all right. I lost to Brook. I don't think, but because of how it's been. But yeah, I understand the whole thing when a Brook fight gets in it. I understand it, but it's been about 14 months since he last fought. So he attempted to get the Crawford fight. He went out when it was Khan. He was told, I don't know if this was shade thrown at Khan. He said, but because of Khan's performance and what he did, they were reluctant to try and do something again with a British guy coming over for a pay-per-view. They were very disappointed in Khan's performance, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I think, Shay, but I think the line of truth in there is his performance. What performance? The pay-per-view performance. The pay-per-view performance of Crawford Khan was the disappointment. They don't care about whether Khan got knocked out. That was the point. He was supposed to get knocked out in that fight. That's why they paid him the millions, was to get knocked out by Crawford. They were expecting to do maybe Canelo or close to Canelo Khan numbers in pay-per-view, which was 480. Maybe they're expecting to do 300,000 with Khan, which is out of the question, but that's what they were thinking. And Bob Arum is too old to think of putting Kell Brook on regular ESPN. I think that's the line of truth in that.
Yeah, so I think things might have panned out a little different, but he said he went away, he spent time with the family, got a little bit disillusioned with everything, but he's back. And a lot of British media say, and not just hype men, but sort of good writers. They've been in they say he looks really good. He looks like really focused. He looks really, things are looking good. And I think so 154, I think that's where we'll see him. I can't see him. Look, he said if there's a big fight at 47, he'll come down, but all reports are that he was killing himself at 147 for quite a while. And but yeah, I don't know. It's
who does he go after?
Can he avoid the bazooka?
I'll jump to Gary here with this question. Who is that champion that Kell Brook should be fighting at 154 that he has a possible chance with?
I've been a Kell Brook supporter on this show. Like I said, he ain't beating any of the guys at 154. Those guys are huge. Like
leave out probability here, okay? Because I think we can probably all agree that the probability of Kell Brook beating Charlo, Jason Rosario, who else is now Patrick Teixeira, Brian Castano, like that's not likely. That's not what we're talking about here. But what name is a money fight? What name could he have good success within the fight? A possibility, not probability, possibility of winning. I got a name, but I want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, if the Brazilian kid, Teixeira, wins, that's a fight he can win. Maybe he could probably beat Teixeira, but I don't. That's going far because let's see how he looks first, right? Other than that, I mean, his other options are going to be fighting those European level guys in the UK, like Anthony Fowler and Ted Cheeseman and those guys. I mean, Beefy Smith, because Beefy Smith still do 54, or is he is 60 now?
No, he can do 54, and plus he's been calling him out a lot lately too.
I mean, those fights don't do anything for us in the U.S., but maybe they have big appeal over where Rob is. But you asked the question earlier, where is Kell Brook? And I want to make a comparison. After Zab Judah lost to Clottey, he lost to Cotto, he lost to Clottey, and he took some time off, and he came back and he fought Armando Cruz and Lucas Matisse and Vernon Paris. But we didn't know where he was, right? Like, it's a fighter with skills, but we have no idea. That's where Kell Brook is. Like, where is he? There's only one way to find out. And he's got to rebuild himself from the bottom up.
Look, I'll be honest. I'm of two mindsets. One, I think this is the most likely thing to happen. Kell Brook doesn't look good on Saturday night, and he just retires. Like, that's where I'm leaning, to be honest. Or he does look good enough, and he's a big enough name, and that division doesn't have a lot of names, so to speak. I could see them doing Charlo Kell Brook. I mean, we've seen. Don't shake your head, Gary. Don't shake your head. Let me talk. I could see because we know that Kell Brook has worked with PBC fighters often, and they're big names too. Sean Porter, Earl Spence, like he's gone over there to work with them. Like Eddie and Kell Brook, that pairing, they've had no issue working with PBC. So like that narrative cannot be used with Kell Brook in the same way we use it with other matchups and fighters. Also, Charlo's the biggest name in the division in terms of champions. He just is. I feel like that's inarguable. And also, if we're being quite honest here, he kind of had the worst performance of all the champions lately. First off, he lost to Tony Harrison just a year ago. Fought Coda, which meant nothing. And then struggled in the rematch against Tony Harrison before he got that late fight TKO finish. Very late fight TKO finish. Even though he was winning on the scorecards officially, on my scorecard, he was not winning. Kell Brook could maybe be looking at Charlo and saying, that's a money fight to a degree. He hasn't been looking the best. And if I'm looking at the other champions, Rosario and Teixeira, they look like fucking meat grinders. That looks like the type of fight where I come out getting a broken orbital bone again, no matter what. Even if I beat Teixeira because I'm a better boxer, that guy's a bruiser. He is. Look at what he did to Carlos Adames. And if it's not Teixeira, it's Castano. Fuck, he don't want any of that work. Okay, and Rosario is a super middleweight. Okay, that all of a sudden has a coach now and is a top 5 fighter. There's no way Brook could really want to face Rosario. Plus, again, not really a money fight. If he looks good tomorrow, or not tomorrow, sorry, Saturday, and he wants a champion, Charlo's the name. I wanted to present a third option because somebody said in the chat, and I think it's a good one. If he really wants a money fight still, Jeff Horn is still out there, man. Just saying. And if Jeff Horn gets past Tim Tszyu, or even doesn't, he can fight Jeff Horn, and that's a relative money fight at 154. That's not a belt, and still a decent name. Guys, any thoughts on what champion you're going to face, any sort of matchups after this? Because I'll be honest, or let's be honest, none of us is picking Mark DeLuca here, but I think all of us may have different opinions about where Kell Brook should go next. So, guys, thoughts?
A Charlo fight is possible, right? But I think he gets blown out in that fight. The only fight I think he has any chance in is Teixeira because he can outbox Teixeira. I don't think he's too small. Those guys are middleweight who shrink down to 154. Those are big guys.
Teixeira's a big guy too,
but he can't box. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't matter. He's a meat grinder.
You're right.
He's going to mess up Kell Brook's face.
I'm not saying Kell Brook would beat him, but he's the only one I'm thinking he has a chance to beat.
Stop. Scott Brown, Kell Brook versus Austin Trout on that religious network.
I don't know. If we get a Kell Brook that's anywhere close to his best at 154, not drained, I know it's the proper tail end of his career, but I don't know. Look, he had his obviously beaten up by Triple G. And then the face gave out against Errol Spence. He has since been replaced with the Terminator's fucking eye sockets. He's got like a metal face. Other than that, Kell Brook's he's a tough guy. And I don't know, all this talk of blown out and stuff. I think I think Kell Brook can take a shot. Just structurally,
that's not necessarily a good thing if you're losing and you don't have.
Oh no! But I think if he's back anywhere near his best, I think he gives any of these guys a lot of trouble. Personally, does he win? I'm not saying he definitely wins. I'm just saying this isn't the blowout that I think people.
Let's say
class when he's on it.
Let's just say for hypotheticals argument here, he looks close to his best. He's looking back in shape. He's looking focused. He blows out DeLuca in 4 rounds, right? Like he just looks prime Kell Brook to a degree, right? Maybe not 100%, but like 80%, 85%. It's Kell Brook again, right? Chocolate brownies for everyone. Is there a person you pick him to beat at 154 that's either a champion or a top name? I'll expand the list a little bit if you want.
What about the new version of Jared Hurd?
Yes. If he is 85% or 80% of what he used to be, yes, he can beat this version of Jared Hurd.
The former meat grinder that's now not.
Yeah, if Jared Hurd's trying to outbox Kell Brook, can you imagine that?
Yeah, excellent. I think he could do J-Rock. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Rosario, he did look a complete and utter beast. I think he can outdo Jamel Charlo if he's at this 85%. I think he could. I really do. But is he going to be that guy? That's the big if hanging over the performance, right? So, but if he is, I think he could do Jamel Charlo.
Gary, I know you were probably the biggest Kell Brook fan of the group here when he was on his game. I think you were of the mindset like Kell Brook could beat Keith Thurman. He was secretly the best welterweight on the planet. If he's 85% back, could he beat Jamel Charlo?
No, Charlo's too big. Like he's not like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence are gonna have trouble with 154 because they're fighting middleweights, right? Like they are. Like I don't know that I pick Thurman to beat any of those guys at 54. They're too big for him. Like they're 6 foot and they're not string beans. Like the 54 pounders are all middleweights who just somehow make 154. It's not like it used to be where De La Hoya and Vargas and Mosley and Trinidad just like I don't feel like making 147, so I'll just fight at 154. These are middleweights who kill themselves to make 54. These guys, no, I don't think he can beat those guys. If he wanted to go back down and kill himself to make 47 like Keith Thurman does or Errol Spence does, he may be competitive with those guys, but I have to see that first. He's going to be out of his element. These guys are too big for him.
I don't know about that. Who knows? I think sometimes we do grossly over exaggerate some weight class differences. Though obviously there's some guys like Rosario or Hurd that are giants. There's 6 foot, 6'1" guys. Those are massive guys. But like Charlie, he's like 5'10". You know what I mean? Like he's not like a giant, so to speak. Kell Brook's probably 5'9", 5'10". He's probably just an inch shorter than him. And they only cut 6 pounds of difference. Not even that. It's what is it? 7 pounds of difference? Yeah, 7 pounds of difference. So yeah. Yes and no, Gary. Yes and no. Depends on the matchup. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you depending on the matchup. But moving on just for the sake of time. Kid Galahad versus Claudio Moreo. His comeback fight since the Josh Warrington robbery. Thoughts on Kid Galahad's future after that awful decision, Rob?
I don't know. This is an eliminator to face Warrington again, so he can try and get that decision back. Yeah, look, he's definitely an acquired taste. I don't think anyone's going to particularly fall in love with watching Kid Galahad's performances, but he's tricky, he's awkward, he's skilled. And I expect him to come through this fight. Does Josh Warrington want to face Kid Galahad again? I don't know. Does he? I don't know that he vacates the title, but
step aside.
I don't know.
Get that voluntary defense in first. Hey, Kid Galahad presented him with a lot of issues, man. Kid Galahad,
if he'd have thrown a few more punches, if Kid Galahad would have thrown a little bit more, just turned it up an extra, I don't know, 5%, 10%.
Not even that.
He could have walked away with that title, and well, he might not have walked away because it was in Leeds. He might not have left the building, but yeah, just a shout out to Shakur Stevenson. If you keep talking the way you are, you're going to have the most hostile environment you've ever
cannot wait for that. I cannot wait for that. Shakur Stevenson didn't want that work.
But yeah, Kid Galahad. Like I say, I'm pretty sure he's going to come through this one. I think it's a good fight. But yeah, he's definitely one for the purest of purists. That if anyone sort of casual and watches, like, oh my god, this is.
I wouldn't even say that. I think like Andrade and like Farmer are more like that, right?
I don't know. I think he does fall in that bracket. I think
maybe he does. Maybe he does. But like I enjoyed his performance against Josh Warrington. I thought that was so sublime. If you're a real boxing fan, like you're a hardcore, you should really appreciate that performance.
It's just too subtle. It's too subtle.
I'm not saying for casuals. I'm not saying for casuals. If they want to hate it, they can hate it. Like I'm okay with casuals hating on.
You can get it. You understand.
If you're listening to this show, you are 99.9% most likely a hardcore fan. You should have loved that performance by Kid Galahad. Even if you thought he lost, you should have been like, wow, he showed me some levels there I didn't think he had.
Yeah.
Even if you were a supporter of Kid Galahad, you didn't think he had those levels, man. And also Claudio Moreo, he's a decent veteran too. This is a good fight. This is a good first fight back from that loss, and also a layoff too. Gary, thoughts on Kid Galahad's fight? Also, I want to bring in Terry Harper fighting Eva Wallstrom in a unification for the WBC and IBO. Nope, not unification. Just
yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
I thought it was the IBF. Damn it. Just a WBC title fight. Eva Wallstrom, I'm probably picking to win that fight too, by the way. Also, Martin Joseph Ward on the card, Dave Allen on the card, John Doherty on the card. I know Rob's been bringing him up a lot. But thoughts on the rest of the card?
I was going to call him Josh Warrington. Kid Galahad's a really good boxer, and he should win this fight. He should have the skills to carry him through the fight. Claudio Morero, I know he's got a couple losses. This guy's not a pushover. Like this is going to be a good scrap. I think Galahad's too skilled for him, and he should survive. But Morero's definitely going to have moments. He's definitely going to be able to catch him in the mid range and get him on the inside. But Galahad's the better fighter, the more skilled fighter, and that should be enough to propel him. But I expect this to be like a 116, 112 kind of fight where Galahad wins clearly, but there's a lot of heated exchange and good competitive action.
I agree. Rob, any other thoughts on the undercard of this Kell Brook Matchroom event?
for me, Terry Harper, Eva Wallstrom could be fight of the night. It could be really good. Terry Harper, I'm going with Harper. I'd have to quickly check the odds because I'm not sure how they.
Harper should be the favorite. I'm picking the veteran here. I'm picking Eva Wallstrom. I've always liked her fights, so I'm picking her. But Terry
Harper, Eva Wallstrom is the 4-1 underdog.
Yeah,
and Harper is a -700.
Yeah, I'm picking the underdog here.
You're going with Wallstrom.
Yeah, I like Wallstrom.
Yeah, I just don't. I know about Wallstrom. I just don't know enough about Harper to think that she can beat a great fighter. So I'm going to go with Matt. I'm with Wallstrom.
She was in the 16 Olympics, right? Wasn't Harper in or did she not make?
I don't think. I'm not sure on that. She kind of walked away from the sport. No, did she not get picked or did not go to the? And she
I'm not a Harper expert,
yeah.
I'll be honest.
But then she was kind of walked away from the sport for a little while, but she's come back with Steffi Ball, and I don't know. I'm really going for it. I think she'll get a stoppage. I don't see a stoppage in the women's fight.
Yeah, because she gets a lot of stoppages against high level.
She's got good power. She's really technical, really fast hands. I think she's good for this. And obviously, this is the fight that Michaela Mayer thought she was going to get with Wallstrom, and Eddie Hearn swooped in and got the shot for Terry Harper. So I'm sure down the line we're going to be looking at Michaela Mayer. I'm going to go all Josh Warrington now and say, Michaela Mayer, go out there, get yourself a world title, and then come back to me, and we'll get a unification going with Terry Harper. But yeah, really, really looking forward to that fight. Yeah, look out for John Doherty, the dog from Scotland, big super middleweight. I think it's only 5-0, something like that.
I think it's 7-0 now.
Oh, is it? Oh, really kicked on with the numbers. Yeah, he's a bit of a beast, bit of a handful for on the prospect side of things in the early days of his career. But yeah, he's legit. Who else did you say quickly? I think Hopey Price is off this card. He was supposed to be Dave Caldwell's young kid that was on the Joshua card.
Dave Allen's on the card.
Oh, Dave Allen, Dorian Darch, right?
He's now versus the dreaded TBA.
Oh, is it? I think it's Dorian. It used to be Dorian Darch was in that little spot there next to where it was TBA. But
also, I'm just going to say it because his name has the word bear in it. Callum Beardow, hilarious name. Dante Dixon.
That's Anthony Thomas is the manager kind of for Dante Dixon.
Anthony Tomlinson, Martin Joseph Ward.
Very quickly, UK fans, and everybody, I guess it should be on, but Matchroom's YouTube channel on the day of the fight, they'll be going live with just the house fights, the very early card. I think 4:45 it'll start, and then they will hand over to the couple of fights that will be on Facebook, and then it will obviously go over to Sky and DAZN for the main card. But they're giving us the whole card in different platforms.
PSK in the chat saying Wallstrom guaranteed L now that Matt and Gary both picked her, and UK Rob picked Harper. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, hold on.
Also, there's a DAZN card on Thursday, tomorrow, in Indio, California. Ricardo Sandoval versus Raymond Tabogan. Oscar Negrete versus Aperto Milan. Sulem Urbina versus Naomi Basquez. And that's about people that I know. Also, Luis Concepcion's fighting in Panama off TV. Kind of sad. I always liked Luis Concepcion. And I think that's it for notable cards. Oh, Evander Holyfield's son, fighting on Facebook and YouTube Saturday as well. Just want to point that out. You guys ready to get to the news of the day?
Sure.
Let's get into it, guys. Gervonta Davis, now charged with simple battery domestic violence, has also been arrested. They're investigating whether or not he assaulted and hit his baby mother after the video transpired as well. Guys, thoughts on Gervonta Davis now facing significant legal trouble assaulting his baby mother? Gary, Rob, anyone want to jump in here?
I've always been a defender of Tank. I've always said, what's he ever really done? And now he's crossed the line. Tank got itty bitty Mickey Mouse kind of trouble for stupid things, but he's never really, I thought up until now, crossed the line. But I mean, it's all on video, and who knows what happened after the video. It looked like one of those things where he felt too comfortable doing it, meaning like this is probably not the first time it's happened. You know, like your first speeding ticket, it probably isn't the first time you ever sped. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To do that in public, in front of a crowd of people, to me, and I don't know, maybe this is the first time anything that's ever happened, but like to be that comfortable doing it in front of a bunch of people suggests to me that this probably isn't the first time. So again, the facts. I mean, the facts are already out. We saw that he batted her. Like that's not really up for debate. But you know what happened before or after. I guess that will all come out, and you know we'll take it from there.
Yes. There's another article that came out after this one from TMZ that's adding more detail to it. I don't have it up. I apologize.
I've got it here if you want me to read a little.
Sure.
TMZ Sports has obtained the police report in which the cops say, I love how they put the cops. They have surveillance footage which appears to show Davis striking the victim in the face, causing injuries. The report says Davis dragged the woman off of the floor of the celebrity game to a separate room, all while grabbing her shirt with his hand close to her throat. When they got back to the back room, police say the video shows Davis pulling his arm back and then forwards towards the victim, which is consistent with a strike to the face where the victim has sustained injuries to her lip and left jaw. I don't know what left jaw, just the left side of her jaw, I guess. Yeah, it just suggests she's got a right jaw. And also, the woman has cooperated with the police and provided a written statement saying she was attacked by Davis. She also allowed police to take photos of her injuries. So yeah, after the footage we've seen of him, taking her out of the arena, there appears to be surveillance footage following that incident around the back. So yeah, it's all mounting up at the moment, and if I've seen what I've seen, and this is not what you do. It's just not how you behave.
There needs to be legal recourse for just what we've seen, let alone what's now been alleged. Like that, because we've seen it. We've seen enough. We've seen the battery, as Gary said.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see if PBC pushes through this, man, and ignores it and sets up this huge breakout pay-per-view for Gervonta Davis, Leo Santa Cruz with this going on. Because
interestingly, I don't know if it's on the back of this news.
Canelo Kovalev happened with Kovalev's case happening. So, I mean, this is unfortunately a really nasty ass norm in this industry that we allow fighters to be promoted by massive networks and be promoted as stars when they're in the middle of violent cases against women being tried.
Does that turn into an ABH charge? I don't know whether you guys have ABH or GBH.
I don't know what that means. That
actual bodily harm. Does that turn like with a charge change from simple battery to?
I would assume. Well, simple battery, is that a felony or a misdemeanor?
It's a felony charge. Yeah,
felony charge. It would probably change from a different classification of felony to different. I would assume, maybe.
There's different classes. Like I think it's a class 5 if there's no harm, and then it goes up from there. That's also going to be state by state too, how they classify.
Yes.
Under Florida law, simple battery, misdemeanor battery is a first degree misdemeanor. Oh, it's a first degree misdemeanor with penalties of up to 1 year in jail or 12 months probation.
I don't know what they were charged. Technically speaking, the after video that we don't have that the police have, I don't know if they're charged as just assault.
Yeah. Let's say we're allegedly at the moment, aren't we? Apparently the video showed him pulling his hand back and going forwards with it, but she does have facial injuries. So, I'm not playing judge, jury, and executioner, but it suggests what it suggests. But
and plus, to be honest, Gervonta Davis was out there on Twitter, like making jokes that when he gets a girlfriend, he's gonna take her to the hospital and show what happens if she messes up.
This is where you'll be if you like fuck around or something.
Yeah,
Right.
like we don't need to really talk about this, do we? Like, not us, but like as a community, like, come on, man. Gervonta Davis has been a nasty ass person for a long ass fucking time.
But to release even the Instagram post after the video came out, like, yeah, I was aggressive with her, but I'd never hit her. She's the mother of my child, and yet, I know now your account's deactivated because allegedly that wasn't a true statement from Gervonta Davis. But we'll see. It'll all come out. Obviously, I think he's got a trial date of March 3rd. And interestingly, you were saying, or does the pay-per-view with Leo Santa Cruz push forward? Jojo Diaz says, I want to face Leo Santa Cruz in Staples Center. has tweeted that not long ago. So maybe he feels Tank ain't going to make that date. Who knows? But yeah, a real bad situation sort of over the sport, really. Again, it's sort of put the sport in a bad light, and it's not really the sport's fault, you know. But yeah, bad topic as always in boxing seems to come out.
And plus, I mean, I think I don't know what the correlation is, but I think there is a correlation between violent sports and the way the men in those sports often treat women. It happens in football. It happens in other in contact sports. You see domestic violence be a massive issue. And obviously, it's a massive issue societal wide, but I think it is amplified in contact violent sports.
I was like, doing that in my brain a little bit, and I was like, well, I was a stockbroker, and my partner had to go pick up one of the guys I worked with from jail because he was arrested for the same exact thing. I was like, but then like you look at it, like these people, they're paid to be violent, and then they have to just turn that off, and they have to, but like you can see that there's a problem sometimes actually turning it off, right? Like, yeah, I mean, it might be more.
I'm just talking my ass, but like that, I just feel that way. Like I feel like it's an issue that us in violent contact sports, because that's where we are. We're in this industry. We need to especially curtail this more so than the rest of society, because I think we have it more. We have this issue more prevalent because violence is the norm. Violence is a normal walk of life in all of our lives because it's the industry we cover. It's the industry. If you're fighting in, you partake in a violent fucking industry. But hey, that's just me. You guys ready to move on? Fuck Gervonta Davis. We're all agreed. Let's talk about how Top Rank here is. I don't know what they're doing here. Somebody explain this to me. I've had to explain to me why this is, but I don't care. Shakur Stevenson, Miguel Mariaga is happening March 14th on ESPN in the Hulu Theater at MSG. 3 days after that on ESPN Plus, Michael Conlan versus what's the guy's name? Belmar Picado is happening in the same venue 3 days later. And we wonder why like Bob Arum gets up there and starts bitching about, oh, he can't sell tickets. Motherfucker, maybe don't put two shitty ass events in the same venue 3 days apart.
One of those shitty events will actually sell pretty well because it's Conlan on
St. Patty's Day. I understand.
Yeah, but you're right.
Like this should be one card. This should be one event. And I get like ESPN has a set amount of dates they give to Top Rank, and Top Rank has to fill those dates. I get it. But hell, if you're in a partnership, how do you not go back to ESPN and say, look, it would be better for us and for you if this is one card. Okay, let's move the ESPN telecast on the 14th, which you guys need, and give us that on the 17th and take away that ESPN Plus card. And we have Shakur Stevenson and Michael Conlan on the same card. Please, like it would be easier for us. It's easier for you as a network. Like why are we doing this? Why? Other than contract obligations from the network.
It would make so much sense for either day, Saturday or it's Wednesday, the St. Patrick's Day, whatever day it is.
Yeah, I forget when.
Just to have Stevenson versus Conlan, because that fight's going to happen. We already know who wins that fight. We already know it's an awful fight. That Shakur Stevenson wins 120 to 108, right? We already know this. So let's just get it over with. right? It'll sell well because Shakur Stevenson from right across the bridge in Newark, he has a big fan base over there. And Conlon has on St. Patrick's Day, Madison Square Garden's obviously going to have a national fan base there. So let's make that fight either that weekend or on St. Patrick's Day, and let's just get it over with because it's going to happen. You know, Adam's going to make it. Like, you know, he's licking his chops for that fight. And it's an awful fight that's not going to be competitive. So, like, why are we making more bad fights to eventually get to a one-sided bad fight? Let's just get that fight out of the way so we don't have to talk about it anymore, especially when they're fighting 3 days apart in the same venue. Stevenson versus Conlon.
No, I'm sorry, Gary. That makes too much sense. Sorry, Gary. Shakur Stevenson, Michael Conlon on just that one date on St. Patty's Day and take away the second card. No, it would make too much sense. And actually, Shakur Stevenson, Michael Conlon's a decent fight instead of two fights we don't care about.
It's a decent fight, but it's a one-sided fight where we all know how it's going to end, right? Like, I'm fine if they make it, but let's just get it out of the way so we don't have to talk about this for the next year.
Double I. When Shakur moves up, Bob is going to get him to fight for the vacant WBO title. Yeah, we're never going to get Shakur Stevenson, Michael Conlon. Michael Conlon's going to fight for that vacant belt once Shakur moves up. I agree. 100% agree with that.
Who said that?
Somebody in the chat. Double I.
Double I. Big ups. You're absolutely right about that. That's how he's going to get Conlon a belt.
That's 100% Bob Arum's thinking behind this. And somebody saying Shakur versus Oscar Valdez at 130. I agree. I think that's probably the fight that's more likely to happen than Michael Conlon. I mean, do we care about any of these fights? I mean, Michaela Mayer against what's her name? Melissa Hernandez. I mean, that's an all right fight, but Melissa Hernandez, former champion, but just make it one card. It's a waste of funds, a waste of time for you as a network, a promoter, and for the fighters, and for us as consumers. Just a giant waste all around. Rob, any other thoughts?
No, I agree. I don't even want to spend any more time talking about it.
I agree. Let's talk about a good fight that's still being negotiated. Dan Rayfield reporting negotiations for the proposed fight between former junior welterweight title holders Maurice Hooker and Regis Prograis are continuing. Both sides are weighing offers from Matchroom Boxing for a bout that would be on DAZN in the spring if finalized, sources told ESPN. Hooker in his first fight with trainer Brian McIntyre is coming off a December 20th first-round knockout win. His first fight since a knockout loss to Jose Ramirez and title unification fight in July. Prograis is coming off an all-action majority decision loss in a unification fight with Josh Taylor in October in the World Boxing Super Series tournament final. Guys, thoughts on this fight still being negotiated? Obviously, we had Prograis go to every press conference and event in all boxing for like a month, right? And clearly court himself to every suitor out there in the industry. But now we're hearing back from that time that negotiations for the Maurice Hooker fight on DAZN are still ongoing. Thoughts on what's next for Regis Prograis? I mean, do we think it is this Hooker fight with DAZN? Is it a one-off fight? Does he sign to Matchroom, or is this not going to happen? Is he signing to somewhere else? Guys, thoughts?
I think the Hooker fight will go ahead, and I think Lou was quite keen on maybe Prograis if he was to come through the Hooker fight, facing the winner of Mikey and Jesse.
That's what he mentioned.
So I could see that. I could see that route. Whether it's fight by fight with Prograis over on DAZN, because I think he's the kind of guy that will want almost, like a Mikey Garcia, the ability to go to and from wherever for the right fights. And just so you know, if that fight is made, it's likely to be the co-main event to Logan Paul versus Antonio Brown.
Get out.
I'm just saying.
Speaking of football, if Eddie Hearn and Matchroom were smart, which they aren't, they would save this fight for the summer and put it on the Friday in New Orleans the day before Texas plays LSU. That's what they would do if they were smart. But they're not going to do that. Like, they're probably going to put this fight on an undercard for Antonio Brown or in Mulvane, Kansas.
When's the draft?
I said the Texas LSU. It's in September.
When's the draft?
The NFL draft's in April.
I think the plan is going to be around the draft.
But why is it related to the draft? You're going to have so many people in Texas.
Because Antonio Brown is going to be the headline, Gary. I'm telling you.
I mean, I get it, but that's not going to add appeal to it. But okay, if you put Hooker versus Prograis in Texas, in Louisiana that week, there'd be so many Texans already there who would love to go out and cheer for anything Texas. If there's anything from
Texas,
it's Texas. But they're not going to do that. So as long as we get that fight, I don't really care when it is. But if they want to optimize it, they would do what I said. But they're not going
to. They would do what I said.
They don't have. It's not my money. You want to blow your money, blow your money.
If we get Prograis Hooker as a co-main event to Antonio Brown, Logan Paul, I'm serious, guys. I'm rioting. I've been saying that for a while now, and no one's gonna join me, which is why I haven't been rioting. But if somebody's with me with a pitchfork, I am there at DAZN headquarters in London. Okay, I'm there marching and slamming on their doors, saying that this is unacceptable. Okay, I will shave Joe Markovsky's Bieber-like haircut off his fucking head. Okay, I promise you this. Okay, you can't do this to us, DAZN.
I'll come with you if you're coming to London, Matt. I'll come with you.
Thanks. Okay, we're good.
I'll drop you off. I'll give you a lift.
How much that you have the defending national champions playing one of the biggest names in college football in Louisiana, and the night before that you have Hooker versus Prograis. Bang, sell it on that weekend.
Look, Gary, I'm okay with that. No one's opposing that. Okay,
Gary, I agree. It's a license to print money, but just telling you, it's a nice
zone, and they're fucking stupid, and they think Antonio Brown versus Logan Paul is going to get them a wide net of football fans to subscribe to them and stay there, even though football fans want to watch football. DAZN's stupid. Let's just be honest about this. The DAZN execs think this is they have leaned into the freak show.
That's why I said if they were smart, which they aren't.
Because promoters, I'm okay with freak shows. If it's a one-off, if it's its thing, right? But when you lean into it, it then becomes a joke, a la Floyd Mayweather nowadays. Think about it. Floyd Mayweather leaned into the freak show with McGregor, Tenshin Nasukawa in Japan, and now this UFC deal again. We now think of Mayweather and his brand as a joke because he leaned into the freak show bullshit. If he came back and fought Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Earl Spence, whoever, Danny Garcia, after the Andre Berto fight, we wouldn't be viewing Mayweather as a joke heading into 2020. We'd be talking about him fighting all these top guys still.
Do you
Same with DAZN. Since DAZN treats itself as a fucking joke, it has become a joke. It is. When I talk to casual sports fans now, they think of it as a joke. We're going to get into the ESPN Plus numbers here in the U.S. They're doing great right now. Okay? They're matching DAZN's total worldwide subscribers in one fucking country. Game, set, match. DAZN, you need to step it up, man. You need to get better in the U.S. You're doing fantastic in Germany and Japan. That means jack shit when we're talking about the U.S. And they've leaned into the freak show here.
Why are you ducking Terence Crawford on Floyd Mayweather's behalf? Do you work for PBC or something?
Okay, I didn't mention his name.
No, you said all the other motorweights except Terence.
On purpose too.
I'm like, damn. You're
but yeah, I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. I know, Rob, you're right. I think you're right about it's probably gonna be in April. It's probably gonna be on the card of Antonio Brown, Logan Paul, because that's what they do now. And then they can package up freak show with legitimate sports and think that works. But no, that's not how it works. But hey, this is boxing.
And it's a great fight. Hooker Prograis, we all love that fight, right?
Yeah. I thought you were saying Logan Paul Antonio Brown was a great fight there, Gary. I thought, what are you doing? Matt's going to fucking freak out. I legitimately did think he meant that fight.
I think Matt, I think...
I kind of went like that.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Gary, what are you doing right now?
You can't control this far.
Connection. I'm out.
I think of Prograis. I think of Brown versus Logan Paul. How you think of professional WWE, professional wrestling. It's just so ridiculous and so absurd.
Super entertaining, but I just personally don't like it myself.
I can't believe Rob.
Massive subscriber driver, but just I'm not keen on it.
Think about this. Rob is so biased about Matchroom and DAZN that he was able for a second to be objective about pro wrestling. That's amazing, Rob.
No, I was only doing it to get a rise out of you.
Let's move on.
My feeling on it is it's doing something. They wouldn't just keep doing it. I don't think. I think.
No, Rob. We had this discussion on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
I agree with you that it's doing something. Me and you disagree on what that something is. And DAZN, through Eddie Hearn, have been, in my opinion, lying about what that something is. It's obviously a massive social media marketing tool. It is. Like, the brand awareness for DAZN now is higher on a social media perspective because of this bullshit. That's without a doubt. But does that actually end up giving them revenue? Does that equal 300,000 subscribers, is what Eddie Hearn alluded to? I don't think that at all. I think that's bullshit, because if they got 300,000 subscribers from one fight like this, oh my, they would have advertised it to everyone, similar to how ESPN did that when they got huge upticks in subscribers off of one event, like Conor McGregor, like the UFC event in September of last year, whenever that was. I forget exactly. Maybe 2 years ago now. But I agree with you, Rob, that it in their minds, it does something. And I agree, it does something. It's a huge advertisement for them to have these YouTubers with their brand power to push DAZN. But I think that only does so much when their brands that they're attaching themselves to are social media brands, are naturally speaking free brands. Like, if I want to watch KSI, Logan Paul's, and all these people, I don't have to pay money for it. So therefore, as a consumer of that product, I'm not used to paying money for their content. So I'm going to find ways around paying money for that content, because that's the norm. So I think there's maybe a small subscriber gain, but not anywhere close to where Eddie Hearn is saying, because if he is saying it and it was true, DAZN would be saying it, and they're not. And don't give me all the private company bullshit. No, a private company, when they are successful, they advertise that. That's what they do to get investors. They get the Goldman Sachs $500 million investment, which Len Blavnik has been looking for. You go and say, we got 300,000 subscribers in the U.S. from one night, from one weekend. That's what you do. And you've never seen that. So I ranted and I kind of hijacked your point, Rob. I apologize. I apologize.
I don't know. I just literally don't know. So they haven't said they have, and they haven't said they haven't. I just literally don't know. I don't know that they would be out there telling the world that they've done that.
They wouldn't deny it.
Huh?
Of course they won't deny it.
I'm just saying, I don't know necessarily that they would be out here saying we've putting out a release.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Honestly, you really.
What have we had from DAZN? What have we had? I don't know. It's other people like
their top 10 events. Their hours.
Yeah, but what did we gain from that? What did we know from that?
But it is information, Rob. So don't.
Yeah, it's like sketchy stuff.
Rob, you can't give me it's a private company or they don't release stuff. They do release information. They do release data. It's data that shows a positive light to them. When they can say we have over 300 million hours of football watch time on our app.
Yeah, but that sounds good. But is it? I don't know.
It sounds good, exactly. And guess what? 300,000 subscribers from one event sounds good. So they would say it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Really, Rob, come on, man.
No, I don't know.
Get off a fence here.
I'm not on a fence. I literally don't know, Matt. They let us know whenever or whatever they want to know. But I don't know. For them, I think it's analytics and numbers is kind of like, I don't know. If you start giving out a lot, I don't know, there's like people get a real more of an insight into your business. And I don't think they want people having a real insight into their business right now.
Because their business is failing. That's why they don't want to insight into the U.S. business, because it's not working.
I don't know why you're shouting right now.
Because it's obvious. It's so fucking obvious. It's like saying, oh, my wall is white, because it's white. The color on it's white. Okay? Saying, I want DAZN want to display what their business is like. It's because their business is not good. If their business is good, they advertise that. That goes for every business. When we hit numbers, we advertise that. When we hit 1 million viewers, guess what? We're going to advertise that because that's a positive fucking metric to hit. Okay? When we lose 20 subscribers a month, do we advertise that? No. When we gain 80 subscribers a month, we advertise that. There's no need for me to do that, but we do that. That's how companies work.
Unless
positive news, they report that.
Unless your company's doing so good, right? And you don't want them to know because you want to claim a loss on your taxes. Then you can't let everyone know how good you're doing. You can't say, look at all these subscribers, look at all this growth. I lost $200,000 last month. You can't really do both. Only Tesla can do both. Tesla.
Companies can fudge numbers. No, companies can fudge numbers for anything. Look at Netflix. They're how many billions of dollars in debt right now, Robbie? I mean, that's a topic that we brought up a lot on the show. It's like we're talking about streaming apps. How DAZN having debt's not a big deal. Look at Netflix. Accurate point to make. But Netflix, when they hit 30 million streams for Bird Box with Julia Roberts or whoever, they report that. It may not mean anything. We may not have any context to it, but when they hit numbers they like, they push that out to the public. They leak it out to the public. That's 100% what they do. And DAZN has done that as well. They have not done it when it comes to these freak show events. Heavy D saying, stop paying. They don't need the U.S. market to drive investment. It's the global model that will bring in investors. Goldman Sachs is a U.S. fucking corporation. I don't know what you're talking about here. When Len Blavnik went and looked for $500 million of investment, he went and looked for a U.S. corporation. Guess what? That U.S. corporation 100% cares about how their U.S. business is doing. When the U.S. economy is one of the biggest leaders in the world, it's a top 10 economy. It absolutely fucking matters. I get that they can be successful in Germany and Japan and be a successful company outside the U.S., but if we're talking about the U.S., there's no way you can make an argument that they have been successful, that they have any sort of long-term viability at this stage. They are praying and hoping in 2022 or 2023 they can get some rights to some actual sports. Even to send shots at our own sport. Like, let's be honest here. Like, they're looking for the mainstream, and this is a side topic for us or for them. But in the meantime, being a side topic, you are creating your brand to be certain aspects. You're giving it certain characteristics by default. And you've given it a characteristic of freak show events. And that's a weird brand recognition to have if you want to be the Netflix of sports. I've been ranting. I'll move on. Unless anyone else has anything else to say about DAZN. Leonard, you can't say, I think DAZN has 1.5 million subs and Matt thinks it's 800K. No, I don't think that. It's been credibly reported, Leonard. Same with the 8 million total subscriber worldwide figure. It's been credibly reported. Don't say, I think that. You, Leonard, some old guy in the UK is thinking that DAZN in the US has 1.5 million subs off of some numbers Eddie Hearns said in some interviews. I don't think it's 800K. Reporters and journalists have reported that. Please don't mischaracterize me. Please. Let's move on. Clarissa Shields, not reporting, saying, my nutritionist told me a while ago that I can make 147 pounds, but I'm not going to the weight if I don't have Cecilia Brækhus' signature on the paper. Also, Cecilia Brækhus has been looking towards this Chris Cyborg boxing fight. Chris Cyborg, an MMA fighter, Bellator. So, guys, and also I want to connect this to Katie Taylor and Brækhus because that's been a match that we've been talking about for some time. That's been talked about for a while. Rob, what do you think is going to happen with Cecilia Brækhus now? Obviously, Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano is now back in play, it seems. Brækhus is now talking about Chris Cyborg. Shields is saying she really wants this Brækhus fight. Like, how do you see that five-way picture at 135 to 154 kind of looking like in the next 8 months, next year? Because it seems very, not complicated, but it seems like we don't have any finality with what's happening with these big-time women's fighters.
I think Brækhus is on the path for the most money, and that to me would be the Katie Taylor route. I don't know. I don't know. Shields. She's talking about MMA. She's talking about 168. She's talking about 147. Talking about one. She's crying out for a big fight, I guess. But I don't think the Breakhouse fight's going to happen for Shields. Personally, I think Shields is Breakhouse will be going the Katie Taylor side of things. Yeah, I don't know. Shields is just crying out for a big fight, I think. But yeah, I think we're getting Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor in, I think it's April, probably in the US. Serrano's been talking crazy lately, saying that Taylor's average and, this, that, and the other, despite all of, it'll be the best name on Amanda Serrano's record. So yeah, I don't know. The women's mix up. This is the whole thing for a lot of people that aren't, to many people's mind, a lot of big fights that could get made in women's boxing right now. As much as we've got women really pushing it on, and there's more women taking part, the level across the divisions just isn't there for these, a real mix at the like we've got a 147 in boxing. We've got a middleweight. There just isn't like a top five that's really, 5 could beat 1, 4 can beat 3. Where it's any guy could any girl could beat any girl at any time. It's just not there. You've got the main players, and until maybe they push it by going, cutting weight or trying to go up weights to try and they might come unstuck. But you've got the main players in women's boxing, and that's kind of how it is right now. There isn't really the real depth where we can get. So yeah, Shields is just trying to find herself a big fight, and I think if she could, probably by nearer the end of the year, that Savannah Marshall fight will be on the table. I think, because I sent a topic in the chat regarding Marshall. Should be looking for a world title at 168. So maybe Shields will go up there, and it's got the backstory with. I don't know necessarily that it's a big fight, but it's not. But there's a narrative and a storyline there for people that don't. You could sell that as the only girl to beat. Shields, the self-proclaimed GOAT.
Quickly, Leonard saying Brackett said Showtime made an offer for the Shields fight. I think this was 4 months ago, 3 months ago.
I don't know
exactly when this was. The offer was not good enough. She claimed DAZN made a better offer for the Katie Taylor fight. But like I prefaced this topic, Leonard, the Katie Taylor fight seemingly no longer on the table. DAZN and Eddie have all been talking about Serrano and Taylor in the springtime now. So it seems like they did a whole switcheroo with Brackett's fight, and now we're getting Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Now Brackett's, in my opinion, is free to fight anyone. There's nothing set with Katie Taylor, which was the fight we were talking about in the springtime for DAZN. So why not go and fight Claressa Shields on Showtime? Like, what else are you gonna do? Fight Chris Cyborg, I guess. But I'll be honest, I hope none of these top women take that fight with either Amanda Nunes or Chris Cyborg. I don't want any of these boxing versus MMA crossovers in women's sports. I don't like it. Don't like it in men's sports. Don't like it in women's sports. There's plenty of talented women here in boxing to fight each other. Just fight each other. Okay? You shouldn't have this issue in women's boxing. But right now it seems like there is that issue. Saying the plan is still the same. Serrano first, Brackets next. Look, I'm telling you, if she does not have a fight signed next, then I don't think she has a fight signed, period, with Katie Taylor. Okay? Where's her in-between fight? Katie Taylor gets one, but she doesn't? Where's that? That deal has never materialized, in my opinion. And I think she's open and free to anyone. And like you said, Rob, she clearly is looking for a big fight, Shields is, because she kind of is missing one. She's missing that legacy-defining fight. Gary, thoughts on Shields shrinking down to 147 and fighting Celia Brackets next? Is that possible?
Talking about women's weight always makes me really comfortable. I mean, is that real? she was fighting at 168. She said 154 was going to be tough. Can she really make 147? Why can't Brackett just go to 54? Like, she's going to fight Layla Ali at 168 and Cecilia Brackett's at 140. That's 20 pounds.
I don't think she's going to fight both those fights.
No, I understand, but she needs to get a big fight, right? And to get that big fight, she has to be flexible with the weight. I get that. But 147 seems ridiculous, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe she can make it, but, like, she comes down from 168. And it's not like she was, like, big and overweight at 168. Like, I don't know. Like, 147 seems crazy. Why can't they just do it at 54? I don't know. She needs to get a big fight. Like, she deserves a big fight. She's the best fighter in the world in women's boxing. And she's willing to go to any weight to make the fight. Like, they need to get her a mega fight. Like, that needs to happen.
The point would be 147 is because Breakhouse is obviously undisputed at 147, right? So that would be.
What's she going to cut one of her legs off to make the weight, Rob? How's she going to make
I don't know. Her nutritionist said she could make it. I don't fucking know.
All right.
I don't think her nutritionist is going to cut her leg off. Just a handful of, like, I don't know, raisins every now and then, and she could get. I don't know. But yeah, I'm really not the expert on women's boxing. I know others that follow it a lot closer, so I'm not really sure.
We can move on. Collider.com is reporting that Ice Cube will be starring as Clarissa Shields' coach in the movie that's being directed about Clarissa Shields' amateur career. Cool to see Ice Cube jumped in here with a major boxing movie like this. I like that, you know. I think Ryan Destiny has been cast as Clarissa Shields. She looks fantastic, and she's a pretty good actress. And now you have Ice Cube, who, I mean, come on, I'm from LA, so Ice Cube's a fucking legend. Thoughts on this biopic movie that's going to come out and it's now getting casted? We're, getting Ice Cube attached to it now. Any thoughts about how this movie might look out or might look?
I like Ice Cube, and I like this. I like the idea for this movie. So this is a double win for me, right? Like, I don't know. Is anyone my age who was into like West Coast hip hop? I'm 36. Is there anyone who didn't like Ice Cube? Ice Cube was great. This is a win across the board for me.
Was he your all-time number one greatest artist, Gary? I can't remember.
No, but he was on my list of top 20.
He shouldn't be, though.
He was high on my list, like 7. He was in the top 10 for sure. I don't remember where exactly he was.
I'm sorry, that's just not going to be happening.
I actually knew that, but I just wanted to make it come out.
It's not true. I love Ice Cube. He's not a top 20 MC. It's all right. Moving on, still on the topic of women's boxing, WBC suspends recognition of Alejandra Jimenez as champion as they're investigating, and she has called for the B sample to be tested. Very curious to see how this transpires. Obviously, huge disappointment because that fight was amazing, and now it's sort of left a huge dark cloud over a rather great fight. Guys, any thoughts on the whole suspension, indefinite suspension at this point in time of Alejandra Jimenez? Also, I think the WBO, right? The WBO is also investigating her as well because that was other sanctioning body attached. It's either WBO or WBA. I forget which one. Guys, thoughts on Alejandra Jimenez's suspension at this point? Again, indefinite suspension as the investigation of B sample does get tested. Thoughts?
Well, the B sample is going to be dirty because the A sample wasn't. That's how it works. So
exactly, yeah.
When it comes in, I just hope it's the same as men. So I just give her 6 months, and it is what it is.
Agreed. That's a positive for. I forget what type of steroid it was, but it was an old school, like 1950s steroid. Yep. Give her the 6 to 9 month suspension. First time suspension. Give her that.
Oh, I wanted to reference this. We were just talking about Ice Cube. The good day that Ice Cube was referencing was January 20th, 1992. Our reporters did the work backwards and went through all the details of the song and pinned it down to January 20th, 1992 was the day that Ice Cube was talking about.
Rob, any thoughts on Alejandra Jimenez's indefinite suspension as the investigation happens?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense while it's being investigated although it's not exactly innocent until proven guilty, I guess. But
No,
it's kind of what you do, right? It's kind of that your how would Mauricio say it? The designation of as being on hold until the conclusion of the B sample or whatever. She's been invited to the opening of the B sample. But isn't that the loophole? If you don't attend, it's then like, isn't that what Manuel Char did?
What do you mean?
Like,
I think I know what you mean, but just explain it.
Like, if you don't go or you don't have a representative there,
they don't open the B sample, right? They just throw it out.
Manuel Char, he somehow claimed that. I can't remember now, but it was something to do with like not being present when they opened it.
Oh, I remember it now. I want to say it's like plead negligence to a degree or also like corruption on their side because he was not present and he had to be present from a legal perspective, I believe. I vaguely remember that, but then again, it's Manuel Char and
Mahmoud or whatever his name is now.
I don't know if he's really the most reliable person, but regardless, I mean, Alejandra Jimenez, if the B sample is clean, I think she's obviously going to have her suspension lifted, her titles given back to her. If she's not, get suspension, titles get stripped, move on. It's the way of the sport. Moving on, Gilberto Ramirez facing WBO's looming deadline on the Alvarez fight. And as Jake Donovan reports here on Boxing Scene, it seems like Gilberto Ramirez is playing hard to get for everyone. For the WBO, for his promoter right now, as he's trying to get out of his promotional contract with Top Rank. He's been trying to field offers from Matchroom. Just a whole lot of shenanigans from Gilberto Ramirez's camp where he's seemingly just being the most difficult person to deal with imaginable. And if he is not able to meet the deadline, Gary's man, Joe Smith Jr., jumps in here and will be fighting Eloy Alvarez as Salamov is fighting Vlasov, right? I believe that's the other fight. Guys, thoughts on Gilberto Ramirez playing hard to get for everyone involved here? The sanctioning body, promoters, everyone.
Wasn't there talks for potential Bivol fight being sorted out for Gilberto Ramirez? Didn't I send that somewhere?
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, I think I did. But yeah, because he was at the Miami card, sat next to Eddie Hearn at one point.
Well, no, there's like I said,
fielding offers and looking around.
Yeah, he was looking at Matchroom, so to speak. You're seeing what's up with them.
So that was kind of then followed up with reports of a Bivol fight possibly in the works. So I don't know. Yeah, I guess that he's got one fight remaining, right, with Top Rank. So that would have to be bought out, I guess, would it?
Yep.
Don't know what that equates to, sort of monetary wise. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I guess it seems strange though, because he could still have that fight with Top Rank and be part of the WBO picture for the title, and then should he win that fight, make it to the makeshift final for the vacant belt, he can do that via a different promoter, right? So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if he's got a title shot when he moves over, if buying out of his contract, if he does get a Bivol fight, that's a title shot anyway. So, and it's by defeating a champion rather than a vacant. So we'll see. I'm not too fussed on Gilberto Ramirez anyway.
I'm not huge on him either, but I think, I mean, I don't know if it's Bivol, but that makes sense. I think he has another option that he likes better, and he's trying not to commit to anything until, you know what I'm saying? It's like when, you know, the pretty girl, the cheerleader, wants to wait to see if the quarterback asked her to the prom before she says yes to you, and she's trying to buy time. Like, I think that's what Ramirez is doing. Like, he's just acting dumb. Like, I'm supposed to sign what? Huh? Me? You want me to, you know, he's trying to buy time and weigh out his options. I don't think he's going to fight this fight, but he doesn't want to say no to it until whatever else he has working on is confirmed, which might, like Rob said, be Bivol.
If he's able to get that Top Rank deal, man, shout out to him. Because like no one's been able to do it like successfully and easily. Like Mayweather kind of did, but like think about the years it took of him arguing with Bob Arum in the media to get to the point of him buying out his contract. Look at Mike Garcia, for example. Like it's hard to get out of that Top Rank deal, man. He's a lawyer. I don't know if Gilberto Ramirez is a lawyer or intelligent enough to read contracts that way. I'm not. If he's able to do that, shout out to him.
He's only got one fight left on the deal. That may, you know what I'm saying? Like they may be able to cut a deal, cut him off. They cut off Top Rank a couple 100,000, and we part ways.
I don't think Top Rank wants to let him go though. Bob loves his Hispanic fighters. Gilberto Ramirez is, if you have him and if he wins theoretically this WBO title now, you kind of have a lock of the light heavyweight division. Like I could see Top Rank being extra aggressive with trying to keep Gilberto Ramirez.
Yeah, but it's like Anthony Davis, right? Like, what if he said, "I'm not resigning with you. I have one fight left with you, and I'm not resigning with you. So do what you want." So I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like the Pelicans could have tried to keep Anthony Davis, or they could get what they could get for him.
Then you know what? They're going to try and make that Alvarez fight because they also have a deal with Alvarez. Top Rank does.
Yeah,
and they're going to try to stack the deck against Ramirez and on Alvarez's side. They're going to get all the Colombian judges in and get all the Mexican judges out. Okay, because isn't Alvarez Colombian? I think so. They're going to try to figure it out and finesse it for Alvarez to beat Gilberto Ramirez in that case.
It's like you're suggesting there's corruption in boxing.
Oh, is that what I suggested? I apologize.
Allegedly.
Oh,
man. Hollywood legend Kirk Douglas dies age 103.
No way. I'm Spartacus, man.
Spartacus guy, yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah. 103, though. Shout out.
Plus Ben-Hur. Right, wasn't he in Ben-Hur?
Matt, do you want to live to 103?
No, fuck no, man.
I knew that.
No, man.
Gary?
I feel 103 right now.
Do my grandkids like me? If my grandkids like me, I'll do it.
Think how many sneakers you have, Gary.
No, Gary, if my grandkids like me, even then, I don't want to live to 100. Fuck that. You know how tough it is to live and function at 100 years old? No.
Well, I would imagine my grandkids would take care of me.
If it's harder than doing this podcast at this time, then fuck that.
If I can't wipe my own ass, I'm done.
That's true. That's true. Like if I'm mentally, if I'm losing it, if my my mind isn't right or I can't. I'm okay if I can't get off the couch because I don't like getting off the couch anyway. As long as
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I'm still functioning, right? Like as long as I'm not senile and lost it.
You did pick Terry Flanagan.
To beat Regis Prograis. Do you not remember that?
Gary keeps saying I'm the old guy. Yeah, he's the 103-year-old around these parts.
All right, man, let's be honest. Moving on. Where we're at. Oh, let's get to the ESPN Plus numbers. We should have probably been talking about this. We're talking about DAZN. ESPN Plus surpasses 7.6 million paid subscribers in the U.S. after Conor McGregor's return. Brought in 500,000 new customers and did over 1 million buys on ESPN Plus. Insane. I mean, it really puts into perspective the level of star power that certain people have. To do 1 million buys on top of a paid service that only has 5 million subscribers at the time. Wow, impressive. I don't know if Canelo can do 1 million pay-per-view buys on DAZN worldwide, even with 8 million. That's a lot because your numbers show small now in terms of your audience size potentially. Also shows that the bundle, I know aficionados, Evan Rakowski, right? That's his name. Talked about this. The bundle that they did for Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu clearly was a massive thing. Bob Iger, the head of Disney, came out on his quarterly call and talked about that being a huge boon for ESPN Plus. I think got over 1 million ESPN Plus subscribers from that bundle alone. So ESPN is playing chess and DAZN is playing checkers. That's all I'm going to say.
So do they actually count? Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
how's that bundle split as in like revenue wise? So say everyone got like, fuck that, I'm getting Disney Plus.
Well, not each subscriber is the same amount of revenue, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I just wonder because there's like 26 million or something Disney Plus or some crazy shit like that, right?
Which is like almost as much as Showtime now, to put that in perspective. That's
but it's like 10 million after a day, wasn't it? It's like fucking hell. Wasn't it like a day later?
Yeah, it was a lot, man.
Shit. But yeah, if only I knew someone that could send me the rest of Mandalorian.
Hey, isn't it coming out? Disney Plus is coming to the UK.
I'll wait another 2 months, Matt. Don't worry. It'll be quicker than you sending me the next episode.
I thought it was coming out this month.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it is next month. I thought someone said March. But anyway, so yeah, on this, so obviously people just straight subscribe to Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Some have done it through this. Was it Hulu?
It was about 1 million. I want to say is what Bob Iger said. 1 million people in this bundle of Hulu.
So that's specific. Maybe that is people that wanted Disney Plus and enjoy their ESPN Plus. So yeah, okay. That kind of. I was just thinking people like
me, for example. I bought that bundle because I wanted Hulu cheaper. I wanted Disney Plus. I wanted everything cheaper. And that's
so what is the overall cost of that?
$12.99.
So ESPN Plus is what,
$5.99 a month.
Yeah. Disney Plus, if you just got it on its own,
I think
same, right? $4.99.
No. I think it was like $7.99.
I just got it like Christmas time for my kids. It's $7.99.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Special price, but that's what I got it for.
Hulu is probably the most out of those three.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because also remember Hulu has the TV packages too.
Uh-huh.
And but yeah, digressing.
Yeah.
Cool. And just overall, like the Disney move to streaming, it's clearly working because it's Disney. Like it's such a monolith of.
Yeah, it's gargantuan.
It just is. Like it's so big. Like you can't. It's so hard to beat Disney, and especially as like the ball has been rolling down the hill. Disney has become more and more of a monopoly. Like it's no surprise that these numbers are looking fantastic for all.
Yeah, I mean, look, ESPN has been like US sports network for how long? Like
30 years. Gary, 90s, right? Late 80s, early 90s was when ESPN came out. I want to say
80s, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, they're like
probably close to 40.
synonymous with US sports for such a long time now, right? So yeah, you when you talk about DAZN, they're just like say again. People didn't even know how you said it. Is it DAZN? DAZN?
Did I tell you the story about trying to watch the farmer fight with my dad in the middle of nowhere on my phone?
No.
Oh my god! So I got my phone to AirPlay to my computer because I brought my computer along. So luckily, I was able to watch the fights on my computer. It's a little bigger screen. My dad never heard of DAZN, so like he hasn't known where like Canelo's been fighting lately. Like he just hasn't been aware.
I know. I'll ask my boxing fucking podcast host son. How do I watch the Canelo fight?
And you know the DAZN logo is like DA, and then below it's the ZN.
Yeah,
that fucked my dad up, man.
DAZN.
He had no idea what that was, and then it was like it's DAZN, like it's trying to be hip, but it's not. It's the zone, but it's DAZN. And when my dad like heard me say that, he got so disgusted.
Did he not like it when you were on the boxing voice?
I don't think he really thought about it that way. But like, because the zone is worse than the boxing voice. Let's be honest. It just is. It's replacing. No, come on. The and duh is different than the and the with an E and an A difference.
Yeah. I just thought you meant like in just overall.
No. Like in terms of like, oh, that's it. It's the zone.
Yeah.
Logo means. Yeah. And he was like, they think that's a good business plan? I'm like, yeah, Dad, that's what they think.
Stop shouting, Dad. I don't know why you're shouting. That's like me talking to you.
And you're like, that went through all the processes of like making a business was that name. I'm like, yeah, that's some Justin Bieber wannabes in the UK and a multi-billionaire in the Ukraine thought it was the greatest name in the book.
It's so they could get Michael Buffer doing an advert.
They can
how to say it.
They can have Michael Buffer in the advert without a lame name. But digressing,
I don't think it's that bad. right now when they go public, right, they'll be on the NASDAQ, and then the tick can be DAZN. It's DAZN. It's easy to remember. I don't think the name is. I get what you're saying about it being corny, but like you remember it, you don't forget it. It's DAZN, like the zone.
You don't forget it. I guarantee you. People that just watch baseball, football, forget this shit. I guarantee you. Because it's one, again, the logo doesn't look like it's DAZN. The letters themselves is DAZN, or as Heath Farley in the chat says, I still pronounce it DAZN. Like, like it's, I don't know. If it was DAZN and that's just what we called it, it wouldn't be an issue because we just call it the letters. But it's a bunch of letters trying to make a word or two words that they don't look like.
So how do you say ESPN?
ESPN. That's what I just said that, Rob. If we just call it DAZN, DAZN, I think that would catch on easier because we're used to just saying that. TBS, CBS, ABC. Like, we're used to just doing that for networks, just naming off random letters. But weird-ass hip names from people with wannabe Justin Bieber haircuts, don't think it works. That's an okay boomer moment. Moving on, wrapping up the show, guys. Let's get out of here. Ivan Redcatch and the New York State Athletic Commission, Thomas Hauser has a piece out detailing how the New York State Athletic Commission has been extremely difficult trying to get information from concerning this situation. No one on record from the commission has said, yeah, I was the guy that sort of okayed taking away a fighter's entire purse. Good article by Thomas Hauser. Also, F.A. Ajabi facing Raz Ajagba. I always get that wrong.
Or you can say A-G-A-B-A.
I see what he did there. F.A. Ajagba versus Razan Kahuni, whatever his name is. Kajoni. Fuck this guy. Is a co-main event to Inaki versus Hellenius. God, that card's trash. And Dmitry Kudashev versus Ruslan Fair announced for Rustaf in May. Guys, that's it for the news. Gary, Rob, any last thoughts on topics today?
Go on, Gary.
No, on those two topics? No.
Three.
Nothing on those. Nothing on a job. FA versus I'm country. I'm from the South. I'll call whatever I want.
Jesus.
Oh, guys, that's gonna be it for today's show. Unless, again, any other thoughts? No, we're good.
No. Oh, press conference on Friday to officially announce Dubois versus Joyce.
I wanted to wait to talk about that when it was the actual press conference because we've had a lot of videos of, hey, Joyce Dubois is next. Oh, it's official. Oh, they've reached terms. Oh, it's this. I thought I'd just wait till the actual press conference.
Well, it's officially a press conference on Friday.
It
was Thursday. Shout out to Dan Raphael. He reported Thursday because he got it through. Then Coogan replied, it's Friday. And he said, not with the release I got. He said, well, it's been delayed till Friday. So just so people, in case they read Dan's article, it's actually on Friday.
Coogan with the whole IFL.
By the way, can I just say, sources did tell me there was an official press conference Thursday from new sources, but I'm not allowed to send those sources to our chat. But Rick Glazer did break this news before anybody.
You know how fast he blocked me?
He did?
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna have to screenshot it then because he's a reliable source.
No, he's not.
He called this. He knew about this press conference before anyone.
No,
even Cop didn't know this.
Cop didn't care. He already reported. He already had his sources. The fight was agreed upon. He was good.
Today Cop quote tweeted his, terms have been agreed with official press conference on Friday.
Yeah, that's great. And guess what? Cop got more attention than good old fucking dirty ass Rick Glazer, Don King's fucking puppet. Fuck out of here.
Rick Glazer was all over that early.
Yeah,
I nearly quote tweeted Dan's story and said, first on the story, and then at Rick Glazer. I thought, no, I need Dan Raphael's information. I can't not I can't get blocked by that.
If you have Don King's hand up your ass like a puppet all the time for 30 years, I can't trust you as a person. Sorry, Rick Glaser.
And you've probably got a big asshole.
Piece of shit person. Guys, any other thoughts? Find me, Mount Hunter MCR, all social media platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe. Patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Drop that 5-star review on iTunes as well. Gary.
No, don't hold back, Matt. Tell us what you really think of Rick Glaser.
Fucking hate that guy.
And, the snakeskin pennies, the penny Hardaways. Very nice, right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Me and Matt are going to be back for a sneaker review, right, Matt?
No, I'm not a big sneaker guy.
Oh, okay.
I've only had in my entire life one pair of Jordans, and they were the pair of Jordans that my now son's godfather has given me, and that's the only pair of Jordans I've ever had in my life.
I have more pairs of shoes than my wife because of my sneaker collection. It's like
I judge you more now, Gary. I hope you know that. I judge you a lot.
You know, like we all have something in our closet, right? I got a lot of sneakers in mine.
Rob, what's in your closet?
I don't know, but I wonder what's in Sean Gibbons' closet.
Yo, man. Some weird thoughts about me, obviously.
But yeah, Gary, social media?
Find me on all forms of social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing Blog, from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.
Yeah, UK Rob MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, share the show. That should be scrolling across your screen, but it's not working at the moment.
I didn't do that. Yeah,
production's been terrible. But yeah, do that usual good stuff. Hit the thumbs up on that. Yeah, well, I guess we'll be back soon as soon as there's some news. Just need this year to start really catching fire now. I think it's getting there. They're starting to take shape a little bit. We'll start having some bigger fights announced, and the year will get into gear a little bit. January is always slow, right? In February.
No, remember that one year we had like Badu Jag, James DeGale in January, and like Javante Davis, Jose Pedraza in January, and there was like a couple other really good fights, like all in like the first month or two. This year's been the first big fight we got is Wilder Fury in a few weeks. That's it. That's the first one we got.
Yeah, that's gonna do.
Not as many buys as Gary predicts. Guys, have a great
I bet it's not as many as fucking Pugmire predicts. 1.5 he's going for. Because of the Super Bowl advert.
Dude, these reporters, man, they will say anything to get access.
I said between 600,000 to 700,000. I was like, I got over aggressive on that one. 1.5 million, huh? So it's going to be what Tyson versus Lewis did? Okay. That'll happen.
I mean, if it does, amazing.
Yeah, great.
It would be one of the most historic jumps in revenue for a rematch in combat sports history. But
just to hammer that point home, history.
But hey, man, if you want that access, you say whatever you got to say. I guess you shuck and jive, you tap dance wherever you want. Tap dance, Lance. Anyways, digressing. Guys, have a great day, great night, great evening, wherever you are. Peace.
Later.